Right, let's get stuck in. Chelsea, Arsenal, absolutely huge top of the table clash with some massive, massive drama in the London derby as Chelsea rewarded an 84th minute penalty. I mean, when else and who else and why else would it be? Why?
Don't perpetuate the controversy.
Why?
Because it is what it is.
It's my job, I'm the media. Lauren James was brought down by Kim Little in the box. There's been a lot of controversy over whether people think this is a pen.
Oh, for God's sake.
Lauren James dribbles into the box. Kim Little basically takes her down. You got a cheeky little photo, which has prompted more fires, apparently.
Apparently my photos are the problem. Yeah, it's not the people online.
So, yeah, Rachel's caused outrage across global outrage with a photo that she took of Lauren James on the floor smiling when the penalty was awarded.
Which many players do when they win a penalty, just FYI.
Listen, if you want to add fuel to the flames, that's on your head, all right? You've got to sleep at night.
I sleep soundly, thank you very much.
Well, maybe not so much anymore. I 100% think it. Do you know? I was watching the game, and when the call was first made, I was like, no, absolutely not. This is just classic Chelsea. Classic. You've got this 84th minute penalty, and now he's going to go and win the game despite not really deserving to win. It was a very evenly matched battle. We'll get onto the battle in a second. But when we had a look at the old replays, I was like, it was a right call. All right, fine. It was a right call. Whatever. Let's move on.
On reflection, I really don't think this was that controversial a game. I think if that had been any other fixture, if that had happened in Liverpool, Leicester, there would not be this level of uproar. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this fixture because I love the football. I love what it produces on the pitch, the skills on the play, on display, the passion from the teams. I love it. It more often than not, it delivers. And if the match ends up being one-sided, somebody forgot their socks. So at least there's some drama to talk about. But my God, some fans really go overboard whichever way the result falls. And it makes it hard then to have a proper conversation about it because people will pile in saying that apparently you hate Chelsea and I'm a big Chelsea fan, apparently, depending on who wins, obviously, because I have also been called an Arsenal fan and a Man City fan and every other fan under the sun.
Who would do that?
Everyone. But it makes it really hard to just have a conversation because you then get told every decision is clear and obvious. And you've got Chelsea fans saying it was obviously a pen and you've got Arsenal fans saying it obviously wasn't a pen. Where is the nuance of the debate and the conversation? You know, when I saw it first, I thought it was penalty because of the way Little made the tackle. You know, it looked to me on initial view that she'd caught her. Mm-hmm. Then, you see the slow-mos and the replays and you start to think, did she get the ball first? But she does take LJ's foot. So, if we did have VAR, I don't know if that would have been overturned, particularly the way VAR works now. There was no VAR. It wasn't that controversial that she gave the penalty because it looked like a penalty to me in real time.
As a neutral with Arsenal leanings, I think it should have been a pen. And that hurts me to say because I didn't want Chelsea to win this game. And also, I love Arsenal's kits. So clearly my loyalties lie with them. But at the same time, I don't agree with the level of backlash. But also, the VAR debate has been sparked by none other than Renee Sleggers, who is calling for VAR now. So it kind of feels like...
Is she calling for it or was she asked about it?
She was asked about it and I'm pretty sure she said...
I'm sure she said if VAR was there, it slows the game down and gives the referee a chance to look at it, and that's true.
Do you know, I really feel like it was almost like a proud moment for Renee. It was just like, okay, you've waded into your first debate.
I know.
Yes, that's really...
Did I do okay?
Yeah, that was a really heartwarming moment. Like, soon it'll be like, I don't know, pitches or something like that.
I saw a clip of, I think it was Beth Mead, she came off a tackle or something and she went careering off the sideline, did a little ring-a-ring-a-rosy with Renee, caught her arm, Renee just kind of went with it, spun around in a circle and Beth Mead went back onto the pitch again. It was...
I don't know. There's nothing she can't do. Honestly, nothing that woman can't do. I feel like she's slowly becoming a very iconic manager in the WSL.
I also want to throw respect to Sonia Bonpasto. In the last couple of weekends, she has covered up her ankles because I have watched her in some of these very cold matches in a very trendy...
Covered up her ankles?
She wears these very trendy navy blue trousers and pristine white trainers and low socks and her poor ankles are out in all sorts of weather. But she's now proper covering up now and I just respect the fashion.
Thoughts and prayers to Sonia Bonpasto's
No, they're
ankles.
fine now. They're fine now.
No, they're fine. Right,
yeah,
okay, no more thoughts and prayers for them. What a bizarre...
Reserve them for somebody else.
Bizarre comment. Guro Wrighton put the pen away, came off the bench, pretty much straight onto the score sheet.
Knew it was going to be a goal.
Who? I mean, yeah. I mean, when she
Although,
lines up,
Being named player of the match on the BBC website for that
Was
is a bit
she?
ridiculous. She was on from the 77th minute, for Christ's sake.
that's
Stop it.
ridiculous.
Stop it now.
That is absolutely ridiculous. That's lazy.
That is.
That is very lazy. She's now scored against Arsenal, Man City, and Man United this season. So a full roster of top-level goal scoring.
She's also such a good penalty taker.
Yeah, she is. It's very, very annoying. Let's get stuck into my second favourite controversial topic, red cards. And who else? Katie McCabe.
You say who else? She's actually not got that many red cards in her career.
She's a very cardy player though.
Yeah, but
not reds.
She's not
but
got that many
yellows.
reds.
And I'd love to know how many other players in WSL have got yellows for the same thing. Dissent.
Oh.
Moments before Brighton took the penalty, Katie McCabe was shown 2 yellow cards. The yellow card was upgraded to a red. Thank you so much for that, Ray. It's doing your research very thoroughly there, which means that she will miss 2 games.
It was really confusing at the time, wasn't it? Because we didn't know if she'd been given 2 yellows, which then became a red, or if the initial, because it was so close together.
Yeah.
If the initial yellow had been scrapped and had been upgraded to a red.
Yeah.
So I think from what we've heard, it is a straight red.
So she was sent off for dissent by Emily Heaslip, who'd made a lovely penalty decision earlier, as we've already discussed. Another controversial moment in her career where she's got to make a big call. Listener Nikki has messaged on Instagram, said, McCabe's red card, discuss it. Thoughts?
Okay, silly reaction.
Okay.
I can understand in the heat of the moment, she doesn't think it's a pen, it's late in the game, she knows they've likely lost it now, right? So I can understand the emotion, getting annoyed. But the way that she reacted to the initial yellow, she's just got to rein that in. And, you know, I think you can't react like that. And while I'm not sure if many refs would have had the balls to do that, having booked her, whether they'd have been willing to go again and upgrade the yellow card, I don't know. But she knows and should know that Emily Heaslip will do these things to the letter of the law. She's hot on dissent. She's hot on time wasting. Just get your head in the game. And I think Katie has to take full responsibility for her actions there. I will be the first person to call her out for these emotional reactions because, you know, she's the captain of my national team. You know, I want her to be able to keep her cool when she's in these situations. It's what you expect from her. You need to be able to keep a lid on it in these moments. But the over-the-top hand wringing and pearl clutching, like, oh my God, she used foul language. She's a thug. My player would never. It's so over the top because it's her that you're getting this pile on. She was wrong, in the wrong, should have handled it well. But this idea that like all other players are suddenly super virtuous, like I sit in the sideline shooting, I hear them swearing at the referee every other week. I'm not condoning it.
What?
It's wrong. Katie was wrong. But this idea that like people were calling LJ a cheat and Katie McCabe a thug, like it's so over the top. It's just so over the top, guys. It's a football match. Like I get that you're, you know, super head up in it, but the amount of abuse, and not just directed at us, but directed at each other on social media over it, it really wasn't that controversial.
I weirdly have to agree with you.
Oh, that is strange.
That is very strange.
Good. So when everyone comes from me, Chloe also agrees, so we can share the hate there.
No, well, I'm not on X/Twitter/ whatever Elon Musk is doing now.
Don't.
I do agree. I think the yellow was warranted. The initial yellow was definitely warranted, and I do think that given the behaviour that she had towards Emily, and it wasn't so much. Obviously, I don't know what exactly she said. There's so many like grainy clips of her say or mouthing something, but it was the aggression for me. It was the way that she kind of like
She said it with her whole chest.
Yeah, she kind of almost went at her as if there was almost like
okay, I don't agree with that, but I do think she said it with her whole chest. She kind of was like, "Fuck you," kind of
she
vibes.
was like this, and I just you can't, you absolutely can't. And even when she was walking off, I mean, you know that you're in the spotlight, you know everyone's going to have their cameras out, and as she's walking towards the fourth official, going off into the dugout, she is again saying like, "You like it was something along the lines of," and please don't quote me on this, but it was like every single week this happens all the time, like it's just me. And I was just like, you can't, you're 29 years old, you're a senior player for your country, for this club, there's this massive game, record achievement at Stamford Bridge, 34,000, just over 34,000 people there, eyes are on you, something controversial. Don't add fuel to the fire. What I did find really, really interesting was the comments that Relay Slegers made after the game. So she was asked whether she was disappointed with Katie, and she said, "No, I wouldn't say that." Interesting.
I don't think many managers would outrightly say I'm disappointed in my player.
I think being disappointed would be fair.
Oh, sure, but I don't think many managers would say that.
Given that you've got a few minutes left of the game, you can get one back. You still have enough time to get one back, and now you're 10 players down.
Yeah, but the reason they didn't get a goal back wasn't because Katie McCabe was sent off.
I will agree with that, but it does make it a little bit more difficult.
100% agree.
Okay, let's get onto the nitty gritty of the actual game then. What do we make of Arsenal's performance here? They did miss some clear chances, but so did Chelsea.
Yeah, I actually don't think there was a huge amount between them.
Yeah.
I thought really like a chess match, and I felt like it felt really disappointing that it ended with a penalty because I felt like either a draw or one of the teams scoring an absolute worldie was what the fixture deserved in terms of what you've been watching. I do think
only Viv had been at Arsenal still.
Oh no, but she was an rival scoring a worldie goal and helping them go above Arsenal. I do think Arsenal were always going to have to weather an early storm from Chelsea. I think, just even based on what I watched last week when Chelsea came out against West Ham, and they were always going to come out all guns blazing at Stamford Bridge. They know Arsenal don't generally start games well, which I think is fair to say. We've seen it in the last couple of fixtures. And I actually think they did quite well to weather that storm, and they built into the half. Renee actually said in her pre-match press conference about taking the game in 15-minute blocks, and you could almost see that. It was almost like they went 15-20 minutes kind of just keeping it 0-0.
Yep.
And then they kind of started to push forward and get out of their half a little bit more and start to put pressure on Chelsea and start to put Chelsea on the back foot. So you could actually see that. I do think they were like, Arsenal were sloppy in possession at times. Like some of the balls they were passing out were just a little bit loose over sent over beyond where a player was or over their heads. And you're just a bit like, in games like that, everything has to be pretty perfect. But I agree with you, like Chelsea had chances. Chelsea could have won that. Chelsea had more chances than Arsenal. And I kind of think had the penalty not been scored, be a completely different narrative. We'd be looking at that and saying, Chelsea kind of lacked a clinical edge against in a big moment in a big game. But we don't have to dig into that now because they've won it. But
it would have been a fair game. I think it would have been a fair result had it been 0-0. There were points I was like, oh, this is a little bit too. It just felt too even, a bit too kind of like some progression coming back, some progression coming back.
You have a go, then we'll have a go.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing. I didn't feel there was enough I didn't feel there was a lot of risk taking in the game.
Yeah.
Loads. But one person I was really impressed with was Alessia Russo. It's very rare that I actually get to go and see Arsenal actually play. I'm normally watching the games on the screen. So looking at some of the off-ball stuff that she was doing, she was drifting out quite wide, I thought, on points. I'd have preferred to see her a little bit more central. But at the same time, I think the chance creation that she was creating for other players was incredible in sort of like making that space. So I did really rate it.
Yeah, her off-the-ball work is very good. I think Arsenal
100%.
struggled to find her.
Yep.
Which was frustrating, and some opportunities weren't. I think they were getting themselves into good positions, but then not generating a good opportunity out of it, which was a bit, wasteful. But I really enjoyed the fullbacks for both teams.
Yep.
I really enjoyed seeing teams of that level of fitness and that level of quality that can bring their fullbacks into a game so much, and they're so involved defensively, and they're so involved and key in the attack. And for listeners' benefit, normally I shoot at the end line. That's normally you shoot behind the goals is normally where you go. At Chelsea, you're at the sideline, which is not a particularly enjoyable place to shoot, but you just see the game from a different perspective, and you see the fullbacks from both sides coming up, and then it's switching right in the half.
Yeah.
So you kind of get to appreciate that a little bit more. And I just thought, the fullbacks for both teams were especially good at both ends of the pitch.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe the only difference between the two teams was the two subs. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, even then, LJ, I find, puts the fear of God in defenders, and they don't really know how to tackle her because she's got such tricky feet and such good close ball control. They're terrified to tackle her. Yeah.
The whole vibe of Stamford Bridge changed when Lauren James came on, because obviously he has such a great track record for scoring at Stamford Bridge, and everyone was like, well, this is going to be the thing that finishes the game. And technically it was, to be fair.
And I think Caldente kind of botched it a bit, and it forced Little into having to making that kind of attempt at a tackle, and she did get her studs on the ball before anyone says anything, but it was clumsy, and in real time you're giving a referee a decision to make in a key area. So yeah, I guess you could say that subs made the difference, but I didn't feel like it you suddenly had loads of chances on goal and loads of opportunities because of those subs, but it was that sub that got the penalty.
I was going to say, you've got Lauren James making her WSL return from injury, earning the penalty, then you've got Wrighton taking the penalty, also ABJ coming on, a great addition to the pitch, and Hamano as well. I mean, I wouldn't say they were super, super effective in changing the nature of the game, but what they actually did was quite
Freshness and
impactful.
quality.
100%. Arsenal brought on Manuel Blastinius, and then Kafaji came on in the 88th minute after the penalty and McCabe sending off. Sonia Bompasso declared 2 days off for her team after their win. That's lovely. Sonny B, come on. Sonny B and
B.
Sassy Viggs, man.
Rene Slegs?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't really work, does it?
They obviously and boringly remain unbeaten in the league with 11 wins. Please, could we not have an unbeatable, invincible season?
Probably.
I just think that is not great for the look of the competitiveness
great,
of the league.
But it's
not.
probably what's going to happen.
No, don't say that.
Okay.
There's so many like smaller teams that I think could be like
The banana
trip
skins,
up.
the
Yeah,
ones you're
for
not
sure.
thinking about.
And especially once we get into like the FA Cup and the Champions League, like that's when it will kick in. So I still remain very much a believer of Chelsea not doing that. So yeah, 11 wins and a draw from 12 matches this season. Not bad run at all. Not a bloody bad run.
Imagine like looking at Chelsea and us going like, how are they going to manage when Emma Hayes leaves and Sonia comes in and it's like, they're going to do better. What? How?
Are you high? No. This defeat ended Arsenal's 13-game unbeaten streak in all competitions, and they're now 10 points. 10 points between these two sides, with Arsenal now sitting fourth. Do we think title hopes are off the cards now for Arsenal? I'm going to answer this one for you. Yes.
I didn't think they had title hopes before the game. So
I was going to say, I think if there's ever been a nail in the coffin, it was Sunday.
I think, let's all get excited about the Champions League spots 2 and 3. Who's coming in second and third? Because that's where the excitement is. Because at one point this weekend, Man City were fourth, then they went up to second. Now Arsenal are fourth and United are second. Like, that's where the tastiness is.
All day.
There's still some drama left to be had, surely.